Right, hello there. This is the National Literacy Trust and this is me, Paul Cookson, in my back bedroom with my trusty flip chart, and I think you can guess the title for today's session, or the subject, teachers. And this is a good book to start. So we are going to write a poem together in a moment. So if you haven't got your pens and your papers ready, now's the chance to either pause this video. You didn't pause it, did you? That's me pretending. You can pause the video and go and get them, or you can get your pens and paper while listening to a poem out of here. This is a book called The Truth About Teachers, with the fantastic illustrations by David Parkins, who draws Dennis the Menace for the Beano. And if you look at the picture on the front, it looks very much like the teacher out of the Bash Street Kids. But not exactly like it, because then you'd have to pay copyright. But we won't go into that now. Anyway, 4 of us wrote the poems in here. Myself, David Harmer, Brian Moses and Roger Stevens. And lots of poems about teachers. And in a moment, we're going to write a poem about school and teachers. This is the last poem in the book. And it's not one I read out very, very often, but I do like it. It's called What Miss Did on Her Last Day in School. She ran down the corridors. She skateboarded in the dining hall. She sang pop songs in assembly and ripped up all the sats. She flicked peas at the juniors, danced on the tables, skipped the most complicated skip and scored the best goal at football. She slid down some banisters, swung on the curtains, brought her dog and 17 cats and let them loose in the kitchens. She made mud pies in a sandpit, read a funny poem in literacy, did impressions of the other teachers, and made the best paper planes ever. She gave us all sweets and a hug and a kiss. She cried when we sang her our goodbye song. She wiped our eyes when we cried with her, told us she'd never forget us, just like we will not forget her, especially on her last day in school. So, bit of a serious ending, but that poem is all about what the teacher did when she was able to do exactly what she wanted. So our poem today, we're going to make a list to begin with. We're going to start with the title. I think it's always good to start with a cartoon title. Now, the word teacher isn't much of a title. So what I'm going to put down here, this is our title. When the teacher isn't there. Okay, right. If you want to write down your title, you can do. But we're going to think about all the things that I won't say you would do when the teacher isn't there, but let's imagine, because I'm sure your class is a very nice class when you're at school, and you're all well behaved, and if your teacher went to the staff room to get something important like some worksheets or a book or some cakes or an extra cup of tea or some headache tablets, that sort of thing, obviously what you would do is you'd carry on working sensibly and quietly and doing your tests, practice your SATs, that sort of thing. You'd carry on working. Let's imagine a naughty class. Let's imagine a class where you can do anything you want to do. And also, when we write poems like this, I like to think of them a little bit like cartoon poems where anything can happen. So you can exaggerate, you can tell lies. So we're going to make a list of things that you could do when the teacher isn't there. Now, obviously, if I was in your classroom, I would go around the class and I'd ask various children to say, what would you do when the teacher isn't there? I can't do that because you're watching this. I'm going to trust you, and I do trust you, to write your answers down. What I am going to do, I'm going to write some of the answers down that I know children have said before, because I've used this workshop lots and lots of times before. So when the teacher's in there, they'll say things like, we dance on the tables. Okay. So you dance on the tables, and what else might you do? Well, we might play football in class. If you dance on the tables, what might I do to the chairs? Well, we might swing on the chairs, because teachers don't like you swinging and rocking on the chairs. Should I swing on the chairs or rocking on the chairs? I quite like rocking on the chairs, actually. As I said that, I was going to put swing on the chairs, but then I thought, no, rocking on the chairs. It's got a nice rhythm to it. Rocking. And also it sounds like rocking chair. Bit of a pun, a play on words. Rocking on the chairs. Now, what I want you to do, and I'll give you a couple of minutes to do this, I'm going to write some more down here. Write your list down, and I'll tell you what you can do with your list of when the teacher isn't there. So write your list down now. You can either pause it, take as much time as you want, or you can write a list down while I'm writing this list down here. So it'll be quiet for a moment or two, apart from the sound of my squeaky pen squeaking on the flip chart here, and obviously your brain cogs whirring and your pens scratching on your papers. So I'll fill this with things that I know children have said before of what happens when the teacher isn't there. Off you go, do yours, and I'll tell you what to do next in a moment. Okay, so dance on the tables, play football in class, rocking on the chairs. Obviously, if you haven't thought of some of these, you can steal some. You don't say steal, do you? We say magpie. You can magpie some of these and put them in your list as well, okay? So you'll notice it's not neat and tidy. I've just written a list down and I've run out of space, so I've put some down there. Okay, so you've got your list of the things that a naughty class might do when the teacher's there. So we've got dance on the tables, play football in class, rocking on the chairs, eat the teacher's chocolate, delete the planning, rip up the sats, go on the laptop, play loud music, have a party, climb out the window, escape from school, and swing on the curtains. Okay, right. What I want to do now is tell you 2 or 3 ways of turning this list into a poem, and then you can choose the way that you like to use best for your poem. Now, I've got, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So as a list poem, you could have 12 things that happen when the teacher isn't there. Number 1, we dance on the tables. Number 2, we play football in class. Number 3, we're rocking on the chairs. Number 4, we eat the teacher's chocolate. Now you'll notice, as I'm saying these out loud, I'm not just going dance on the tables, play football in class. I'm putting expression and feeling into it. We dance on the tables. We eat the teacher's chocolate. Now, I've just said those out in the order that I've written them. You might want to find a different order. You could rearrange the order. One of my favourite definitions of poetry is the best words in the best order. So maybe you can rearrange the order and find which ones you put at the beginning, perhaps the not so naughty ones at the beginning and the really naughty ones at the end. That's one way, okay? Or we can use this line here as a repeated line. So I'm going to say it out loud now, and I'm going to put that line in. We dance on the tables, play football in class. We're rocking on the chair when the teacher isn't there. We eat the teacher's chocolate, delete all the planning. Rip up the sats when the teacher isn't there. Go on the laptop, play loud music. Have a party when the teacher isn't there. Climb out the windows, escape from school. Swing on the curtains when the teacher isn't there. Now again, that was the first time through in the order that I've written it. And it sounded okay. We can make it better. The thing is, when you write your own poems, you edit, you draft, you redraft. Now, some of these phrases sound good in the rhythm. Dance on the tables. Now, I might not say play football in class or football in the class, even though play football in class is the same as football in the class. Football in the class sounds better. Dance on the tables, football in the class, rocking on the chairs when the teacher isn't there. So our format is we have 1, 2, 3 lines, and the fourth line is always when the teacher isn't there. And like I say, put it in any order. You know, rip up the sats, eat the teacher's chocolate, go on the laptop when the teacher isn't there. You might say, instead of when the, you might just go, teacher isn't there. So you could have play loud music, have a party, rip up the sats, teacher isn't there. Because when you perform a poem, it's how it sounds and how it feels. And also, if you miss words out, your brain puts them in anyway. So we could divide those up into verses. Also, you might notice you have rhymes. Now, poems don't have to rhyme, and I very rarely say write a rhyming poem, because if you write a rhyming poem, you have to make the rhymes fit the poem. You don't make the poem fit the rhymes, you make the rhymes fit in with the subject of the poem. Now we've got the word chair and the word there. Now, that rhymes, rocking on the chair when the teacher isn't there. Sounds good. But if we had a variation of our little model there, and have line 2 and line 4 rhyming, because I've dance on the tables, rocking on the chair, da 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 da, when the teacher isn't there. See what I mean? So let's have that. Dance on the tables, rocking on the chair, football in the class when the teacher isn't there. And that's a really nice, tight rhythm. In fact, I'll say it, you say it after me. Dance on the tables, rocking on the chair, football in the class when the teacher isn't there. Right? Eat the teacher's chocolate. Now this one, we've done this before. R.I.P. Rest in peace. And you could put R.I.P. the Sats. I quite like that. Delete all the planning. R.I.P. the Sats. Eat the teacher's chocolate when the teacher isn't there. That could be our next verse. 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've got 2 verses there. Obviously, you can put these into verses as well. In fact, this one here, escape from school. If you're thinking of the best order, where would you put that? Yeah, you put it at the end. Because if you've climbed out the window and escaped from school, you can't then swing on the curtains because you've escaped from school. You've done all these things. So think about the order you've got to put it in. Now, we've got 2 verses. You can write more than 2 verses if you want. I'm just going to give you a little chorus to link it together. And a chorus is the bit that you repeat again and again. I'm going to give you a very, very simple chorus. You can probably think of a better one. And if you can, fine. It's your poem, you do that. But we'll have, we don't mind, we don't care when the teacher isn't there. So I'll say it twice, do verse 1, say it twice again, do verse 2, say it twice again. And you can see how the poem builds up very, very easily. We don't mind, we don't care when the teacher isn't there. We don't mind, we don't care when the teacher isn't there. We dance on the tables, we're rocking on the chair, football in the class, teacher isn't there, because we don't mind, we don't care when the teacher isn't there. We don't mind, we don't care when the teacher isn't there. Delete all the planning, R.I.P. the Sats, eat the teacher's chocolate, teacher isn't there, because we don't mind, we don't care when the teacher isn't there. We don't mind, we don't care when the teacher isn't there. And you've got a structure for your poem. If you like rhymes, what I would suggest you do is write the alphabet down the page, A, B, C, D, and so on, and go down and think, right, what rhymes with there? Air. Well, what's flying through? Paper planes are flying through the air. Grizzly bear, teddy bear, perhaps not. We don't care, we've got that. We've got chair. Dare, pulling people's hair. We do what we dare. The boys are pulling hair. Da 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 da. When the teacher is, and you can see how the poem builds up. Now, that's one idea. Well, there's not one. There's several ideas there. One last thing I'm going to leave you with. You could put the day we played football in the class, the day we were rocking on the chairs, the day we escaped from school. And instead of having when the teacher isn't there, that could be your title, and then you can make a list of all the things you do on that particular occasion. How did you escape from school? Was there a plan? Make it sound like a military operation. Someone was lookout. Someone opened the windows. Someone helped you climb out the windows, giving you legs up. All that sort of thing. Put detail into it, and it doesn't have to rhyme. But see where the ideas take you. And it's ideas that are the most important part of poetry. Spend more time on your ideas as you're writing the poem. We wrote those ideas down, and then very, very quickly we said them out loud, and they became a poem. And that's the thing. Always say your ideas out loud. It's how they sound. Okay? Have fun writing your own poems about when the teacher isn't there. If you want, you could have when parents aren't there. Similar idea. So, I'm going to say ta-ra for now. And there we are. The Truth About Teachers. You can look up that book some other time and find lots more fun in there. And some fantastic illustrations as well. Okay.